She lived to be 122, the oldest person in recorded history. She met Van Gogh, and she outlived the invention of the internet. She had only one child, but in the end, she outlived every member of her family. She knew pain. She simply wore it with style. Her name was Jeanne Calment, a French woman who didn't flatter fate, but outlasted it with grace. Born in 1875, when Napoleon's death was still a fresh memory, Jeanne's childhood was quiet, but never ordinary. While other girls were stitching embroidery, she was fencing. While others stayed warm by the fire, she rode her bicycle through the village wind. She once said, "I've always been quite interested in the business of living." At 11, her parents introduced her to a strange, scruffy painter. Wild eyes, bushy beard, she recalled. He looked like a mess, spoke like he was arguing, and kept trying to sell us these messy, noisy paintings. That man? Vincent van Gogh. To the world, he would become a genius. To Jeanne, he was just a strange man, and she just a curious child. At 21, she married a kind chocolatier. They moved into a sun-drenched French home. Life was soft, sweet, almost poetic. A loving husband, a daughter with laughter in her eyes, wine and music on holidays. A picture-perfect life, until fate decided otherwise. Her husband died young. Her daughter died at 36. Her grandson gone in an accident. By the age of 90, Jeanne was the last surviving member of her family. For over half a century, she lived alone, with only her memories for company. But she never broke, never begged life to go easy on her. Every day, she dressed with care, put on earrings and lipstick, played piano, cooked for herself, read the newspaper. She once said, "You can't fear an empty room so much that you forget how to talk to yourself." At 90, a lawyer approached her with a deal. He'd pay her monthly rent, and when she passed, her home would be his. He thought it was a bargain. She was 90 after all. She lived another 32 years. She died at 122. He died 10 years before her. To this day, it's known as the worst real estate deal in history. When asked, she smiled and said, "He wanted to gamble, so I let him play." That was Jeanne's elegance. Not loud, not desperate to prove anything. She aged like a good French wine, with flavor, with humor, with patience. In her later years, she used a wheelchair. Her vision faded, but she never hid. She gave interviews, looked in mirrors, played piano. She still allowed herself a small puff of cigar every day. Her line, "If you live this long, you'd better add some flavor to it." Her caregiver said, she used to say, "Don't help me. I'm not dead yet." Someone once asked, "Are you afraid of dying?" She replied, "Dying is inevitable, but while I'm alive, I'll live with dignity." Her dignity wasn't in riches or status. It was in soft perfume, a touch of blush, and the way she carried herself without apology. When asked her secret to long life, "I don't get angry, and I'm never in a hurry." She never rushed. What was the point? She was enjoying the company of herself. In the summer of 1997, in a quiet room in Arles, France, Jeanne Calment neared her final moment. A doctor leaned over and asked, "How are you feeling?" She smiled and said what would become her famous last words, "I've waited long enough. But it seems God forgot me." A few days later, she slipped away. No grand funeral, no parade. Only a quiet farewell from a woman who had made peace with life. She wasn't a myth, she was a message. She spent 122 years gently proving, growing old isn't a failure, it's a style. She didn't fight time, she simply didn't argue with it. She didn't conquer loneliness, she befriended it. She didn't win against life. She walked beside it, in lipstick, in silence, with a piano playing in the background. So, if you're feeling like life is getting too heavy, if you think age or solitude is closing in, think of Jeanne Calment, who lived through heartbreak, outlived everyone she loved, and still managed to make it all. A charming, slow-burning comedy. Maybe, just maybe, that's what a full life looks like.